Temba had a three-legged pig, and his neighbor asked him why the pig had only 3 legs. Well, I'll tell you this, Temba said. One day I was plowing my field and the tractor turned over and pinned me underneath, and the pig ran for help, and then he saved my life. Oh, said the neighbor, is that how he lost his leg? No, said Temba. One night Zodwa and I were fast asleep and the house caught fire. The pig woke us up and he saved our lives. So that's how he lost his leg? Asked the neighbor again. No, that wasn't it, affirmed Temba. Tired and exasperated, the neighbor demanded, then how the hell did he lose his leg? And then Temba replied, you see, when you have a pig this good, you don't eat him all at once. Good evening, and welcome to the new Talk with Rams Live, brand new from the box. And now coming to you only twice a week, and we're still live on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. Tonight we introduce a new feature. Or shall I say we bring back a feature that always belonged to us. It always belonged here, and we bring it back. Fame and fortune, we call it. It's back. It is that feature where we chase and find influential people, famous personalities and celebrities, and talk to them about their relationship with money. This was a very popular feature in the past, and I have no doubt it will be no less popular now in our new platform. And if you're going to introduce a new feature, you better make sure that you start big, and it doesn't get bigger than the internationally acclaimed theater, film, and television actor, Sello Maake Ka Ncube. It cannot get any bigger, folks. And he needs no introduction. If you want me to introduce you to him, it's going to be a problem. But I'm going to mention a few things. Farewell, Bella Ella, The Whale Caller, The Lion King, Long Walk to Freedom, Generations, Bopa, The Queen, A Woman of Color, Scandal. Okay, I'm going to stop. I don't need to introduce this guy. Really, I'm not going to stop, and then the show will be finished before I even say hello to him. I could go on forever, and still I won't do any justice to the illustrious career of this distinguished gentleman and an actor of high repute. And I'm privileged. I say this with serious humility. I'm privileged to call him a friend and a brother. So please join us in this conversation by asking questions and sending comments on all our platforms. Please use the hashtag Fame and Fortune. And if you can fit it in, also use Talk with Rams. Prascalo, my brother.
Hey, Rams, how are you, my brother?
Sweet to like it.
Hey, sweet nom kataga.
Hey, Taraso. Fere, are you good?
Nesingali. I'm a Singali, my brother.
Yeah.
Singali, yeah.
I'm so happy to have you here tonight. Thank you so much for the opportunity.
No, thank you for inviting me, and thank you to your viewers.
You know, my mother is 80 years old. So in fact, even though I say we don't need to introduce you, I suspect an 80-year-old sometimes forgets. If she met you in the lift and you had 15 seconds before you part with her, and she said, I think I know you from somewhere. Who are you? How would you introduce yourself to her?
I think the one way that she would recognize me would be Engar Achimurok. Lahasampun, aw kwena achi, aw ngwana. King ke kopana le wena ke sa o bone. So tla ke bona ke le sepo. Mara ke a utlwa voice ke aw.
Well, we can also hope that she liked Archie, because if that's Amorad, I got to be like a clapper.
Yeah, I know. Aji was loved by all. Aji was loved by all. You know, can I look out to somebody, or there was one time, I had gone to Baby Tsangleke Malutia Pafudi.
Yes,
I was helping. I was helping Minister Lindiwe Zulu, you know, ka campaign. But the funny thing was that in one house, the mother was basically one recognize or out. Arch, barumela wena jwale. Barumela wena jwale. Ka mo bona ba nyompa ba television mo. Barumela wena. So, and I think because of Aji, I could actually plead the ANC case, And I'm about when I get but I like, Kerata when I fair, when I get the chattel away. And when I get out, when I get one Baba, and television. I'll never forget that. Karana Chemin, and the Ramaphosa. I think not hands. But no, that's, so Aji was very loved.
Yes. So, tell me, in your view, is fame related to fortune? Do these concepts go together?
No, I always say I've got fame with no fortune to match. Look, I think there are times, I think I think somehow they actually go hand in hand,
Yes.
They
Oh, damn. Did you just lose him? Folks, we're going to take a break a little bit until we find him back. Sorry about that. That's technology for you. Why we don't like working from the phone. Always prefer a laptop. I can only suspect he got a call and try to dismiss it, then answer the call. So I'm telling you what, we're not gonna take a break. I'm gonna continue until he joins us. Then we.
So sorry, man, guys. Sorry,
no problem. You are back. It's okay.
Yeah, I'm back. What was I saying? Brother King.
Please turn your phone again around.
Around. Which way? Which around?
No, flip it.
Flip it. Hey, I can't flip out.
Yeah,
there
you have it. There.
Okay, all right, I got it. Okay.
Got it, yeah. So no,
I think luck, and and some way somehow it's like your fame has got. Maybe it might have to be attached with some entrepreneurial thing. But
yes.
When you look at, for instance, actors abroad, who basically can just, live largely on a particular working discipline that they are doing,
Yeah.
And I think, Mohai, in order to, you have to basically multitask, maybe honestly an entrepreneurial mind. We didn't have entrepreneurial minds. Because we just believe that there is an entrepreneurship within what we are doing, and I think that is the aspect I think the next generation has got to be given the faith, the entrepreneurial side, yes. of the profession. And Baraking tlhogoputswa e thusa tlhogontsho ka maele, you know what I mean? And yes. Even when they say baraking indlela ibuzwa kwaba phambili, you know what I mean? And I think the coming generation, and I think our children. I mean, I'm working with a boy. It's this thing, what you call it, blood and water.
Uh-huh.
And this boy already, and in fact, and he's actually my age when I really, started getting, getting my claws into the craft. I was 26 when I did Waza Albert, and then since from there I never looked back. You know what I mean? And now at 26, already now he's even discussing, with an agent abroad.
Wow, man.
You see that, man. I mean, the world now basically is opening up, and for that boy, I definitely can assure you that that is where I think fame would go hand in hand with fortune.
Yes.
But again, also, I think also it has to do with the relationship. I don't think I have a good relationship with money, and I've got to be honest about that. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? Because I think also, because if you look around and you look at institutions and even the advice that one can get, you know what I mean? And I wasn't really smart on that. And I think basically, you grow up thinking, you live, watabalas all the time. And
Yes.
but you know what I mean? And I think that is a mentality. But black people, we have that. And it has to
Yes.
do with the fact that I think for centuries we have been made to live from hand to mouth, and we have never been made to believe that we can create something, live beyond, or actually create even generational, working a trail
Well.
of wealth, and somehow
Yes.
when we actually have got to, and when we've got to create wealth, we now even just want to create ringedi, take corners in order to create wealth. And it's what we see about with with the commission, you know what I mean?
Yes.
Or
Yes.
people
Yes.
basically were just taking shortcuts in order
Eish.
to create
Eish.
wealth. You know what I mean?
So,
And
so
and go ahead.
no, okay. I was going to say I wanted to ask you a rhetorical question, because when I speak to any artist and I ask this question, I know the answer, but I like asking it anyway. Have you ever been broke?
Bring broke.
Have you ever been?
Every artist knows that. I think the lovely thing was it was the mother, the grandfather of my daughter.
Yeah.
Because I sort of worked, I think, for a year and a half, and I decided to quit my job to go back into acting. And I remember telling my daughter's grandfather, baba, bengifuna ukunazisa ukuthi sengizoyeka umsebenzi and go back into acting. And the old man looked at me, really, and taking his moment to look at me, says, "Oh, so you want to live a life of wishful thinking?" And I mean, he couldn't have said it better. And I think as an artist, you basically live a life of wishful thinking. You wish that whatever, if you are a musician, you wish that you come up with a hit. You know what I mean? And if ever you are an actor, you wish to get that role.
Yes.
And you constantly wish, because you are as good as your last role. You know what I mean? So you keep on wishing to get that role that will give you. But also another thing is, it's Baraking. I think it's how much you love what you're doing.
Yes.
I love Baraking Khalil Gibran.
Yes.
Khalil Gibran in this book, Yahya the Prophet, and there's somewhere where he talks about work. And I think the way he describes work, he says work is love made visible.
That's powerful.
That's
powerful.
And that is powerful, And and some way he talks about I've got my laptop. I hope I'll get to it very, very, very soon. But again, he talks about when you work with love, you bind yourself to yourself and to one another and to God. You know.
Yes.
And it is an I mean, that passage here have work and this thing miracle. It is really, 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 really fascinating, you know. Real, and I think I want to share that with you.
Well, find it as you ponder my next question. As you find it, I'm going to ask you another question.
It's there. In a moment, I will be with it.
Great stuff. So here's my next question. In the as you
scrolling
make
so fast, but yeah, yes.
Yeah. So as you make a bit of money, as you get those roles, as they come and go, do you get to save some of your money? His connection is not, but it's back now, I think.
No, okay, I'm back now.
Yeah. So I was saying, as you're trying to find that, I had another question for you.
Okay. Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Can you hear me? And please turn your screen again.
No. Okay, great.
Yeah, please turn your screen again.
Which way?
Just flip it in a landscape.
Tilt it, but
yeah, as you are. Keep on going the way you're going.
Yeah.
You know, when you take a picture from it, sometimes you take it this way, sometimes you take it the other way. Put the phone.
Yeah. I don't know, but no, it's on landscape. That's it.
Is it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Tilt back straight.
And then tilt it back again. There. Okay, then tilt it back again. There, it's back.
There you go.
That's
okay.
Technology.
All right.
That's technology.
Okay.
Anyway, yeah.
The technology in which.
And folks, do forgive us for this. It's just technology, but the show goes on. The show goes on. So here's my next question.
Yeah.
When you make some money, and I say when because you don't make as an artist, you don't make money all the time. When you make some money, do you save part of it, and what percentage of it do you save?
Go ahead.
I'm saying when you make money, when you get a project or a big gig or something, do you save some of the money you make? And if you
still taking long. This connection is really bad. Hmm? No, but yes.
Are you good now? Can you hear me?
Look, now? You can save as much. You save in a way that somehow. Well, you save. I think for that patch where you might not even where you might be, looking for a job. For your next job because most of the time you are always in between jobs, and if you're not in between jobs, you actually have this like if you're doing a soapy, you know what I mean? But soapy, Leona, basically, there is a way and the way it is structured, Mokai. It is actually structured in such a way that you are almost living like the only difference is working like a highly paid executive. But when you don't have the benefits of an executive, you know what I mean? An executive could be getting $1 million, but that $1 million comes, the benefits, what you call it, medical aid, housing allowance, car allowance. You don't have those, and with a certain kind of stability as well, But yeah, in our case, it doesn't happen. It doesn't happen that way, But I think, the current generation, I think, are more fortunate, because I think a lot. The world has basically opened, and even information it's literally at your fingertips. You know what I mean? Yeah, and I mean, in these days, I think a young person who really kind of cry, not getting an opportunity, it's because you are not actually using your brain. But also, I guess it has to do with the fact that you haven't been exposed,
Yes.
to ways of doing things, and to a different kind of education and even a different kind of world view,
So in spite of those circumstances, and I mean, as I say, I know what artists go through. In a manner of speaking, in the work that I do, I'm an artist. I'm always hoping for a phone call to come for a gig. But in spite of all that, we all have something that is our weakness, and it's called an extravagance. What is yours? What is that one thing that even when times are tight, you still find ways to spend them? Can you hear me?
I think you're breaking up, but I think I kind of got the gist of your question, of what is my extravagance, and my extravagance was actually at first in King music, CDs.
Yes.
And I think also I am that kind of a person. I don't know what it is. I really need to go and sit on a psychologist's chair and deal with that. Or I always want to have two of something. If I would have an iPhone, I must have two iPhones. So I think I need help on that one. I don't know. It's like I'm always like worried that I will run out, and I don't want to run out of something.
No, you know what, my brother? I'm sorry, I'm going to have to agree with you. You need help.
Yeah, no, I do. I've acknowledged it. I'm already on the path to healing, I guess. Because they say the first steps is accepting that you've got a problem.
Exactly. So would you say when you look back at your journey, would you say
you're breaking badly for me?
Yeah, it is actually your connection that side, because on our side it's full connection.
You are breaking so badly. Okay, come through.
I'm saying, would you say when you look back on your journey, would you say you've made it?
Not yet. And in fact, it actually, some people expect you to make it, but it's according to their standard of making it. But what is my making it? And and I remember one of the things, what happened was in 1990, let's say late 80s. I wanted to go to the UK to go and study drama. And Bunny Simon, who was the co-founder of the market, and I shared that conversation with him. I said, "Hey man, Bunny, I'm contemplating to, maybe, write to, to an institution in the UK to go study drama." And Bunny said to me, "But Sello, it will kill you. You are still trying to find your voice." And I didn't understand what he meant, but he had seen that in my process, when I was, working through something, it was all about trying to find my own expression. And that is what he called my, I was trying to find my voice. And it was interesting that when I went to the UK now doing The Lion King, and when I'm there doing The Lion King, I get an invitation to come and play Othello with the Royal Shakespeare Company. And now they have Black British actors that they have trained even to deal with Shakespeare.
Yes.
You know what I mean? And then now, instead of going for them, they come for me, who is actually coming with broken English.
Wow. We haven't been lucky with connection, folks, tonight.
Yeah, today haven't been at all, isn't it? Okay, but camera. Now here I am. I'm back. Yes. You know, and the thing was, you know, when I did Othello, it was because of the otherness, and because of me still kind of be still fresh from Africa. I had the otherness that they wanted, and it was resonant in how I delivered myself and in how I carried myself. You know what I mean? And I think that is one thing that, you know, a lot of, and that is the voice that I have. But what I have now even managed now with the journey of trying to find my voice, I actually feel that now I'm even ready to write an acting book, you know, because I have made certain observations as far as acting is concerned. And I think once I deliver that acting book, bro, I won't be walking, I will be floating in the air. And whether I'm floating, the grass net, it can't. It can't. You know,
like Aladdin.
Exactly, but no, I got Aladdin who is thinking the magic carpet. Now I'm using the magic museme or the magic kanzi, you know, and I will be surfing the air with the magic kanzi, and that I shall have made it. And but you know, also, you know, I mean, I loved, and I think that's my consolation for my poverty. You know, the stories are Sir Alexander the Great.
Yes.
Or when he was on his deathbed, he requested, I think, a physician, the best physician in the country, you know, and he requested that his coffin must be designed in such a way that his hands must be outside the coffin. I think there was another thing, I can't remember what. But what he wanted to signify was that, having been the greatest Alexander that I am, and having made and collected all the spoils in the world, when I'm taken to my grave, I'm not taking them with, you know. And then as far as the physician, or even with the best physician in the country, you know what I mean, he still could not stop me from dying, you know. And I think sometimes we carry ourselves as if accumulation of wealth is the only most important thing, and these are things that you live and die, you know.
On that note,
I was even saying one time to my sons, and they said, you know what, son, I'm not living in the mansion, but in here, in my soul,
no. Yeah, I think let's take a break quickly and see if we can reconnect.
Okay, no, I'm back. I'm back again. There we go.
No. Anyway, let's take a break. Let's take a 2-minute break and then come back. Yeah.
Okay, sure.
Strengthen your connection a bit.
Now more than ever, small businesses need all the help they can get, and that's where Ad Crashers comes in. Ad Crashers is a movement that brings big media and big agencies together to get small businesses in on the big ad action. And so, if you're a small South African business, we could be making ads for you for free. To apply, visit adcrashers.co.za and your brand could be on radio stations, web banners, and billboards all over town. This initiative is brought to you by the Riverbed Agency. # support small businesses. T's and C's apply. Now more than ever, small businesses need all the help they can get, and that's where Ad Crashers comes in. Ad Crashers is a movement that brings big media and big agencies together to get small businesses in on the big ad action. And so, if you're a small South African business, we could be making ads for you for free. To apply, visit adcrashers.co.za and your brand could be on radio stations, web banners, and billboards all over town. This initiative is brought to you by the Riverbed Agency. # support small businesses. T's and C's apply. Now more than ever, small businesses need all the help they can get, and that's where Ad Crashers comes in. Ad Crashers is a movement that brings big media and big agencies together to get small businesses in on the big ad action. And so, if you're a small South African business, we could be making ads for you for free. To apply, visit adcrashers.co.za and your brand could be on radio stations, now more than ever, and small businesses all over the help they can get. This initiative is brought to you by the Riverbed Agency. Ad Crashers is a movement that brings big media and big agencies together to get small businesses in on the big ad action. And so, if you're a small South African business, we could be making ads for you for free. To apply, visit adcrashers.co.za and your brand could be on radio stations, web banners, and billboards all over town. This initiative is brought to you by the Riverbed Agency. Hashtag support small businesses. T's and C's apply.
Folks, do forgive us. Technology does these things, but we're not going to stop talking to this man until we finish our conversation. You can't get him every day, so I pin him down when I have him. So we're going to continue, finish this thing in 5 minutes, quick. You were telling me about Othello. I still want to hear the full story.
Yeah, and when I did Othello, bro, and I was feeling, I felt comfortable with the fact that I was giving it my own expression. You know what I mean? To a point, there was one moment, gosh, I can't remember it. And I think because I'm, working, what do you call that thing, man? There's a monologue that I did, where, the way, I think my interpretation of it was so, so African, in the sense that, I drew from my own experiences, Sandlamo, for instance. Can you imagine seeing Shakespeare and then watching Shakespeare and then when all of a sudden, But yeah, that's what I did. Are you still there, or am I talking alone? Technology.
It's playing games on this technology.
Yeah,
Technology is playing games, but you can. I know.
Is it still there?
We're gonna solve it.
I can hear you.
We lost one of our cameras. We're gonna continue with this other one.
Okay. All right. Okay.
So.
Yeah, I would like to read that thing that I wanted to tell. I was telling you about Yamato, and he says, "What is to work with love? It is to weave a cloth with threads drawn from your heart, even as if your beloved were to wear that cloth. It is to build a house with affection, even as if your beloved were to dwell in that house. It is to sow seeds with tenderness and reap the harvest with joy, even as if your beloved were to eat the fruit. It is to charge all things you fashion with a breath of your own, and to know that all the blessed dead are standing about and watching. Love, work is love made visible."
Wow. I wish you could have ended up with that conversation, but I still have to ask you one last question. Because if I don't ask you this question, I'm going to lose everybody who they want me to ask you this question. So
Yes.
At about 4 o'clock this evening, when the markets closed, the rand dollar exchange was about 15 rand 30 to the dollar. So the question is, in all your career, in the life that you've lived, in the roles that you've played,
yeah,
you say, doesn't matter whether it's still in the bank or in your pocket, would you say you managed to accumulate $1 million?
No. I wouldn't be in this country if I had. No, I wouldn't be. I wouldn't be in this country, but
well, I'll tell you this much though. To millions of South Africans, you've brought multi-million dollars worth of happiness and fun and joy and pleasure. And for that, we thank you.
No, thank you, man. Thank you, my bro. You know, there's Baraking, there's one thing that every time, and when I look at, the people in my country or my people in the country, and they once inspired me to write this poem I wrote, in celebration of Nakedi Ribani's modeling agency, and it was called Siyazazi. The poem is called Siyazazi. And then Nakedi used to run a modeling agency called Siyazazi. So it's taking from the name of Siyazazi and watching the models doing their thing and exhibiting their beauty, the African beauty. It inspired this poem. From the bowels of dubiety, once proud being, then reduced to a corrosive humility, our souls disgracefully packed and sold, time's tick turned the meek to bold, elevating our spirit to a height much to perplex arrogance might. Cause now, Siyazazi, we know who we are. Re tseba gore bana ba khole re tsebana ka melodi. Re tseba gore bana ba khole re tsebana ka melodi wa popego. Re tseba gore bana ba khole re tsebana ka melodi wa mosepelo. E kwa ge re sese ka mesepelo ya rena. E kwa ge re rikiki ka kgato tša rena. Morethe thobo mokibi wa kgato tša rena ga o ne papišo.
Oh man. Now I know why I could not allow this network to interfere with us. I knew we had to come to this point because I would have given up earlier, but something told me we have to get to this point. Beautiful piece of work.
Thank you. Thank you, my brother. That is the wealth I have.
Oh man. Because we have extended a bit, I just want us to, as we conclude, just touch on something else that you do that is so amazing. The Sello Maake Ka Ncube Foundation. I just want you to talk a little bit about that and what you do and what the program is all about there, because I've been following that work.
Yes. Look, bro, I mean, one of the things that I've been doing with the Sello Maake Ka Ncube Foundation is the incubation and basically passing the baton to younger people, in the performing arts, But now for the 16 days of activism, I'm going to be doing 16 days of activism calling it Fathers and Son campaign. And I will be engaging with my sons. In fact, during the lockdown, we engaged, me and my sons, very, very, very intensively, and we're having very serious conversation. I mean, I always have serious conversations with them. But I think during the lockdown, they were more intense. And we were discussing a lot about manhood. And if I had had these conversations with my stepfather or my biological father, I think I would have been a better man, And I think for me, what is going to be the driving force of this 16 days of activism, we will be having 16 topics that we will be discussing, but all heading towards breaking the cycle of gender-based violence. And also wanting, and for me, it will be actually embarking on a 365 days of activism rather than 16, and always also urging other men to start engaging their sons, because with the conversation between fathers and sons, I definitely can assure you that, with us, my generation, imparting a certain kind of awareness and how to be a man. It is going to take we are actually going to be educating our grandchildren, because our sons are going to pass that knowledge to them. I wasn't raised by my biological father. I was raised by my stepfather. And I sort of had a thing of saying, maybe it is only better if you are in your child's life, but that doesn't solve the problem.
Yeah.
And I remember my eldest son who passed on at 19. My daughter tells me, "Hey, Baba, do you know that Mxolisi has got 4 girlfriends?" And at that time, I've got 4 children with 4 different women. And I just realized, but again, it doesn't fall far from the tree. But I started having conversations with him then, and that's when I realized the danger. And I remember I asked him a question, "Hore, son, when you were growing up," because he only came to live with me when he was 14, and he came to me at 14 because I remember it was only, I think, when I was 13 that I started having identity issues, and I didn't want him to go through that. You know what I mean? But when we reached that point where now he was dating and now there was this situation, I asked him a question. I said, didn't you wish that I was always there in your life? And tears welled up in his eyes. And I said, you see, I thought I was being better by just being present in your life on weekend and school holidays. What you would have wanted is me being there every day of your life. And I think that is one thing that we men as human beings, we don't realize it. Animals beat us to this thing because animals are there to nurture their offsprings to maturity. We make them, and especially, human being men, we make babies and we leave them. And we tend to think that marriage, and I think through this whole process, I realized, we tend to think that marriage is the ceremony that we celebrate. That's not marriage. That is just but the ceremony.
Yeah.
Marriage, yes, it's just a wedding, that's a ceremony. But true marriage, it is when the sperm meets with the egg. That marriage, no man can put asunder. Only death will.
Whoa, folks, Sello Maake Ka Ncube, our very, very first guest on Fame and Fortune. We went past our time, and I'm glad we did. Sorry about the connections, but you have to agree with me. This guy is good. He was an amazing guest. He's an amazing South African, a beautiful human being. My brother, thank you so much. I will be there during the campaign. They told you I confirmed.
Okay.
Eh?
Yes, they told me.
I've confirmed. Okay, cool.
Yes, they did. And all the guys, one thing that I will share to those, and then maybe those by Lahore, they actually are suffering from guilt, because a lot of us black men, or men in general, we are suffering from guilt. And we're suffering from the guilt of the children that we have abandoned. I'm going to be unpacking a situation of mine where one of my sons came into my life when he was already 20. And it was a very interesting journey. And I think I want to give hope to those who maybe will even end up opening that door. We've got to allow ourselves, we've got to forgive ourselves because we didn't know any better, and begin to redeem ourselves and begin to heal ourselves so that our children take healing into the future, not the hurt that we've been bearing on our shoulders.
He said to us that he only has the fame and no fortune. He's now living us amazing fortune with his wisdom. Thank you very much, my brother, and have a great evening further.
You too. Thank you, my brother.
So, guys, tomorrow is Opportunity Tuesday. You know what happens on Opportunity Tuesday. No, you don't. Let me tell you what happens because it's new. Dr. T now comes on Opportunity Tuesday, but we still have the Opportunity feature. And tomorrow, there is a great opportunity. If you make tires or you make parts of heavy-duty vehicles, you could just score yourself a big, big deal that we're going to present to you tomorrow evening. 7:30 p.m. right here, Talk with Rams Live. We shall see you tomorrow, right? From me, Rams Mabote, good night and God bless.